household.
right? I don't know. I haven't read anything
I
today, but I don't know.
Well, that's just what I mean. Like when you look at these cases and oh, it was a good household. They kept their kids from, they protected their kids, and then you start finding out, well, this person had drug charges and domestic violence, and there was a history of, you know, bad
Right,
stuff going on in the household. It starts to paint a bigger picture. You know what I mean? So we
right.
need to check for that.
Um, okay. Let me see. All right. Are we live on D Live?
Yep.
Woohoo! Hey, Jonathan. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. We're live over there on YouTube too. So hang on a minute. Let me share this out, everybody. If you wouldn't mind sharing this out. Good morning over on D Live. Good morning over on YouTube. Much appreciated. Let me pull this up. Hey, Danny, how's it going, honey? Doodle. Hello, guys.
Hey,
Let
hippie.
me get the chat pulled out
Pizza
here.
lover.
Pizza lover. Pizza lover.
Oh,
Pop out chat. We got kind of a different case for you today, guys. We are definitely doing the missing today. And let's
yep.
get everything. I'm going to say hello to everybody and let everything come popping in here, everybody. We got 6 watching so far over on YouTube. I'll share out my community. Thank you, Jonathan. I greatly appreciate it. So nice to see you, Danny. I hope you're doing well, honey. Good to see you. Good to see you.
This case is one of those ones that has a lot of holes in it.
It
It'll have a
does.
lot of filling in the blanks to be done.
It does. It really does. And the sad part about it is it's never been solved.
Okay.
You know, hello, hippie soul. Hello, pizza lover. Just a girl, hello. So I'm going to pop out the chat from D Live also. And so we've got both YouTube and um,
Oh,
there
just
we
got a
go.
notification on my phone. We got a severe thunderstorm coming through. It's going to be hitting here. So if I lose power,
All right.
what happened?
Danny G says, I don't have D Live. Can you tell Ghost Mafia said hello? Absolutely. I just did.
No.
Some new things in Discord you might want to look at. Okay. Jesse, thank you. Congratulations. 4 month streak. Blondie, Andrew, Hondo. Hello. Hondo says hello to you, Ghost.
What's up, Hondo?
Blondie says hello. Everybody says hello. So, yeah, we this little case is pretty sad actually. And you know, we do the missing every Monday, and I like to keep up on new cases, but I feel like the old cases are just as important.
Right.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank
And
you. Hi,
there's so many cases that we've done that we've been waiting for updates on for so long, and
yeah,
they seem to be going cold. Like
yeah.
the Morphew case, and what's going on with the courts with that, and uh,
MJ says we're here. Sent everybody from our live. MJ, thank you so much, honey. I really appreciate that. Well, thank you, Hondo. I'm glad you're doing good, babe. So, this little girl is absolutely gorgeous. Let me see. Let me move my chat around. I've got so many screens open. I'm scared of myself.
just a girl. Anky, what's up, Ash? Long time no talk to. Sharing the fan.
Let me pull up her poster so that you guys can see her. And then we're going to play a little clip. Um, Let me pull all the. You guys wouldn't believe how many doggone. Um, no, sir, I am not subbing to you assholes. No, no, no. But thank you very much.
And prayers to all those families as it was affected over the last couple of days with all the tornado outbreaks in
Right.
Iowa and all the way up through Chicago and everything else. We're supposed to be getting them here today, so I don't know. But we know that there was loss of life in the last 2 days over the tornado outbreaks and things like that. So prayers go out to the families and friends of all those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, let me look here. This is not a very good poster, but we're going to look at it. So, this little girl, hey, Sunny girl, thank you guys for coming in. And if you wouldn't mind, please sharing, hit that like button. You know, you never can tell. Let everybody know how crazy we are over here. You know what I'm saying? So, we're going to go ahead and share this. This little sweetie, was 9 years old back in February 14th. Hey, Crystal. Much love. She says hello. Hey, Uber, have you kept up with this situation in Ukraine? He's also friends with Cab 7 and me and Granny Mobster from back in the day. No, I haven't, Hondo. I have been keeping up with the Ukraine situation up till a couple days ago. And I've got some things going on here at the house that have got my attention, such as kind of like a sick relative. And hi, Diesel Cat. So, and some other things that I'm trying to scuffle around. But, Hondo, if you wouldn't mind letting me know about what's going on. So, anyway, this little girl, back in February 14th of 2000, disappeared. Her name is Asha, or they call her Asha, but I'm going with Asha Degree. She's 9 years old. This is her poster. Asha Degree has been missing from her home in Shelby, North Carolina since February 14th of 2000. Family members last saw her asleep in her bedroom at approximately 2:30 to 4 a.m. She was seen by drivers walking along North Carolina Highway 18 in Shelby, North Carolina. She was reported missing by her parents by 6:30 a.m. More than a year later, Ash's book bag was discovered buried along North Carolina 18 in Burke County. FBI Charlotte is investigating in the partnership with the Cleveland County Police Office and North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. Now let me tell you a little, there's more to what they're telling you here happened to her. Oh, wow, Crystal. Wow. Asha. Okay, gotcha. Shelby is a lovely city. So listen, this family is a family of four. There's Harold, there's Aquia, and their brother O'Rourke, I believe, which is the older brother of Asha. So what happened was the night of February 13th, Asha lost her basketball game. She got, penaltied out. Oh, thank you, honey. I don't know why you're saying that, but thank you. Thank you. And she was a little bit upset over it, but according to her mother, she got over it real quick. They all went home, and they had a raging storm that night. The power went out. The kids went to bed. What'd they say? The power came back on at what time? What are you doing, braiding your hair?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Is it?
power went out at some point. She put the kids to bed and she was intending to give them their bath before bed for school the next day, and they couldn't give them their bath because the power was out at the time. So I don't know what time the power came back on, but it had to have been after they put the kids to bed.
Right, and then the mother, because the kids hadn't taken a bath that night before.
Right.
So the mother got up around 6:30 a.m.
Said it about 5:30 a.m. to get them ready for school, and was getting ready to draw their bath, and went in to check on them. The son was there, but the daughter wasn't.
But the brother, who was in the same bedroom as Asha, said that he heard some rumbling around, but he just figured that she was rolling over in her bed, right?
It's restless. Yeah.
Restless, yeah. Hey, Lady Phantom. Hey, everybody. If I missed anybody, hello. Ghost says hello too.
Hello.
He can't see over there in YouTube. I'm looking at both of them, but he's just watching. He's monitoring the D Live for me. So anyway, the mother gets up, pulls them a bath. Hey, lovable rogue. Pulls the kids a hot bath, goes in to wake them up, and guess what? She's not there. Not there to be found. And she was thinking that maybe she went over to her grandmother's house. She called the grandmother. She wasn't there. And the family lived like across the street and just down the road. So they lived in a close proximity of Harold and Aquila. So grandmother hadn't seen him. The sister-in-law hadn't seen her. Some clothes were missing. Well, they called the cops. Here's where something's funny, Ghost, and something's funny with this. They call the dogs.
Yeah.
They
And
call the
dogs
dogs.
didn't
Yeah.
get any scent. Yeah.
No scent whatsoever of this little girl. None. But here's what's even funnier. While the cops are looking, then they get two people calling the police station saying that they saw this little girl all in white, wearing a long sleeve t-shirt, white pants, with a book bag, walking down Highway 18. Now, let me see if I can find that map.
Here's my question. If this little girl was packing a bag to run away, like police speculated that was a possibility, that's a 9-year-old girl who
Right.
just packed a book bag at between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning, somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning, left her house in the middle of a thunderstorm
Right.
and is walking down a highway. What could have happened at home that was so bad that this girl, who's deathly afraid of dogs, only 9 years old, was not dressed for cold or wet weather? What could have happened that was so bad to drive this little girl to leave her home at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Right. Right.
That's my question.
Right. And I agree with you. Something's not right.
Something's not right.
So, okay, so here is where she lives. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where she lives. Okay, now they said they saw her on Highway 18, which
Yeah.
this is Highway 18 right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but this is Highway 18. Then she went to, what was the upholstery? Debbie's Turner's upholstery.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen on this,
Walking that direction.
she's seen, which is
2 miles
20
away.
minutes. Yeah, yeah. 1 point whatever miles away. Right here. Now, here's where the funny part is. They said that this guy turned around, he saw this little girl, and it bothered him that a tiny little girl like her was out on the highway like that at that time of morning. Remember, guys,
In
this
a
is
rainstorm.
in a rainstorm, dark, no flashlight, And all by herself, a little 9-year-old.
And this was approximately 3:45 in the morning when he seen her.
Right. 3:45 in the morning. Thank you, Ghost, because I forgot. Thank you.
So 3:45 in the morning in a rainstorm, cloud cover, sun doesn't come up for another 2.5 hours. You know, it was pitch black out there.
Right. Right. Pitch
This little
black
girl
out there.
wouldn't have been able to see her hand in front of her face other than the car headlights coming down the road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So this guy gets worried. He circles her a couple times. And he finally goes, he was going to go check on her, make sure she was okay and pick her up possibly. She takes off running into the fields, running into the woods. Now, I'm going to show you.
Well, see, that part actually makes sense to me. You're 9 years old and you're out walking on your own on the side of the road, and you
Right?
see a car that takes interest in you and starts turning around and, coming towards you. You're going to bolt too. You're
Right.
like, you know,
Right. Hey, 60s. Oh, I don't see any water around there. I don't see any water around. But who knows? Could be little creeks and stuff. But anyway, she takes off into the. Thank you, Davros. She takes off into the woods, he says. And then that's the last time he saw her. So, then, do you want to tell him what the next situation is?
well, the next day they find in the shed at Debbie Turner's upholstery, they find some candy, which was described as same kind of candy that she would have had in her book bag that was given to her in
Here's
a
the shed.
Valentine's Day pack from her basketball group.
No blonde.
And a bow with a Mickey Mouse motif and her pencil box next to this tractor tire in the shed.
Right here.
Like maybe she got in there and she dug that out of her bag to eat, and maybe she's hungry, whatever. I don't know. But again, dogs did not pick up scent there.
So Blondie wants to know, so she was going to meet someone? No. Here's another thing. We found out, reading on this case, that the parents didn't even have a computer in the house. They wouldn't allow their children to be on the computer, and they blatantly said there's too many pedophiles, too many weirdos out there. Hello, Kyle. Too many weirdos out there. So they didn't allow their children.
Well, you got to remember too, in 2000, you didn't have, Facebook and MySpace were still pretty new at that point. If they were even in existence at all in 2000 would have been more like Yahoo Messenger and ICQ.
Right.
It would have been chat rooms, but no, social media, no pictures, no, it'd just been you typing in a chat somewhere. That would have been about it.
Jonathan wants to know, why was she running away from home? That is the $1 million question, Jonathan.
Right.
$1 million question. We don't know. The parents didn't allow them to have a computer. They very rarely let them watch TV. They were involved in all kinds of sports. They were involved in church activities and family. So anyway, so they found this. Here's the picture of where they found her bow for her hair, her Mickey Mouse bow, and candy wrappers, which they said were indicative of Asha and what she had in her purse.
Yeah, what the basketball team had given out as treat bags for Valentine's Day. Basically.
And right here is where they found the shed.
Right.
So we've got that. Okay, so then okay.
Then the case goes cold for about a year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There she is right there. What a pretty girl. Look at how pretty she is. Look at that smile. Look at that. That is an age progression. Look at that smile. What a pretty girl. So here's what it says here. As children, we all have tendency to harbor this idea of a wonderful other life. Even when things are going well, most children hold on to their imagination and dream of something bigger and better. When you're young, it's always easy to feel like you play the role of main character and fail to see just how dangerous the world really can be. Some people speculate it was this line of thinking that led to the disappearance of Asha. Okay, I sure will. I sure will. So this is the missing billboard. Right now it's a $45,000 reward for anything leading up to her. Um, let me see. Here, yeah, okay, so tell them about the book bag then.
The book bag. A year later, a construction worker finds her book bag wrapped in plastic bags and buried on the side of Route 18, 30 miles in the opposite direction of the direction that she was walking that night. Now, we've tried to locate the actual area where they found the book bag, but it doesn't allude to any mile markers or anything. It just says along Route
30
18,
and
30
30
miles
miles
away. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have been trying to find that. We did find pictures of the site where they were digging up the book bag, but
Oh,
it
where
doesn't.
is that? Where is that? Where is that? I'll find. I've got so many damn things open.
And the book bag did contain some of the clothes that were missing from the house, a book, and some other stuff
I'll find it.
that was identified as being
Okay.
hers. And there was a tag inside the book bag, like a luggage tag type thing that had her information on it. So they
So
know that the
here,
book bag is definitely hers.
but here's the funny part. So someone eventually picked her up. That's what we're thinking, Blondie. 30 miles away, and they find a book bag that's wrapped in plastic and dug and buried. Why would they wrap it in plastic? Number one. Why would they do that?
I don't know. There's something. Look,
Something's fishy
for
about that.
me, there's red flags all over the place with this. The dogs couldn't find any scent. So it's almost like the girl never left on her own kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like she was carried away. She was taken away from that house and, you know, the shed staged. They didn't find any sense of her being in that shed either.
Right, right. Well, and here's what this says. It says the biggest and most concerning breakthrough came nearly a year later at the construction site. While digging up an area, construction workers unearthed a child's backpack. The startling detail was that they did not just find the backpack there buried in the dirt, it had been wrapped up in a plastic bags and buried. It was at this point when police really began to lead towards foul play. As Asha, as oh, I can't pronounce her name
Asha
correctly.
might have
Asha.
left voluntarily, but it didn't seem like she stayed away by choice.
Exactly. To this day, police officers have been unable to determine what could possibly make Asha head out into a vicious storm in the middle of the night. What possesses a 9-year-old girl to leave behind the life she knows and head out into a cruel and unforgiving world? And I agree with that 100%.
Yes,
It's here, Joy.
to me, that's one of those things like, okay, if I was going to go out, if I was going to run away, I wouldn't do it in the middle of a thunderstorm. I just like, it's a lot easier to walk away from someplace in the middle of the afternoon when people are thinking, oh, you're just going to your buddy's house, instead of sneaking out in the middle of the night in the middle of a thunderstorm. That's the kind of situation where you sneak out to hide a body is under the cover of darkness in the
And
middle of
don't
a thunderstorm.
does a 9-year-old help me fix this in my I know when I was 9 years old, if I was going out in the dark, I would always have a flashlight with me, even to go out in the backyard. Don't you think a 9-year-old would think it's dark out here? I'm walking in the dark, I need a flashlight?
Yeah, and this is back in 2000. It wasn't
Right,
like,
Sandy?
most 9-year-olds now have a cell phone, but back then it wasn't the norm. Back then it was still, you were still using StarTAC flip phones and the Nokia phones with the switchable faceplate. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't the phones that we have now with the flashlight and everything on them.
But get
Most
this,
of them didn't even have a camera.
get this, Ghost. It says some speculate that her unusual actions might have been inspired by a book that she had recently read in school. The book, The Whipping Boy, was presented in many classrooms and involved two kids running away and ending up on a wild and terrifying adventure. Some speculate that Asha might have been looking for her own adventure. Well, so let's play this and see what we can find.
Well, she is the type of child that would give you the shirt off her back. She never wanted anybody mad at her for anything. She wanted everybody to be her friend. She wanted everybody to be happy. After 20 years, I still believe my daughter is alive. I do not believe she's dead. And I know somebody knows something
Oh, that breaks my heart.
can disappear into thin air without somebody knowing something.
It was 20 years ago on Valentine's Day. Asha Degree disappeared in the middle of the night.
Oh, breaks
The
my
fourth grader is believed to have left home in the hours just before dawn, walking out of her Fallston neighborhood near Shelby, North Carolina. Witnesses saw her walking along Highway 18 within a few miles of her home. A tipster reported she possibly got into a car. More than a year later, Asha's backpack turned up at a construction site 30 miles away. It raised new questions but yielded few clues about the missing girl's whereabouts.
A search was done of that area. Same type of situation. People were interviewed, evidence was collected and sent off, and until this day, Asha's still not been located.
God
So
bless
this
her.
is near the area where she was last seen.
Detective Tim Adams came out of retirement in 2014 to work the case for the Cleveland
Right.
County Sheriff's Office. He's on a team that includes the FBI's Charlotte Field Office and the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation. These agencies have been on the case since Asha disappeared, but have recently redoubled their efforts. This new team, which first met in 2015, now meets regularly to sift through clues and evaluate
I want to
new
give kudos to these, the FBI agents and this agency, because they have not stopped. 20 years they have not, well, actually, it's what now, 22?
Yeah.
22 years. They have not stopped looking for this little girl. So, I mean, I got to hand kudos to these guys.
information and results from interviews. The case still generates hundreds of leads, including 45 in just the past year. The FBI is offering a $25,000 reward in the case, on top of a $20,000 reward posted by the Sheriff's Office
lady.
and the community. Billboards are posted along local roads where Asha may have been before she disappeared.
God almighty.
And the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children recently released an updated age progression photograph showing what Asha might look like today as a 29-year-old woman.
Thank you.
The national nonprofit produced another age-progressed image of Asha 5 years ago.
What we're trying to do is provide hope-based images, tools to help families that have these long-term missing children in the hope that we can create an image that might have a child brought home.
The FBI asked for the new image and is updating the roadside billboard and its posters seeking information. Over the years, investigators have released a few potential clues in the case.
God bless them.
In 2016, they published images of a car that may have picked up Asha.
Okay.
They believe it was a 1970s model Lincoln Continental Mark IV or a Ford.
I gotta stop right there because Ghost and I were talking about this earlier, and he said, "Well, they look completely different." But for somebody that doesn't know cars like me, a guy would say, "Well, they're completely different," and I could understand that. But for somebody that doesn't know anything about cars, to me they look alike, except one's shiny and one's not. Oh, Ghost must have got kicked out. Okay. So his power is out. So anyway, somebody saw the little girl get picked up by this vehicle. Just to FYI, okay?
Thunderbird with rust around the wheel wells. In 2018, investigators revealed 2 items found in Asha's book bag: a Dr. Seuss children's book from her school library, McElligot's Pool, and a New Kids on the Block concert t-shirt, which didn't belong to Asha. Investigators are hoping anyone with information will come forward.
We will continue to pursue all avenues to further finding out what circumstances led to her disappearance.
Asha's mysterious disappearance and the enduring questions surrounding it have shaken her hometown, a close-knit hamlet in the Carolina foothills.
This house here on the left, the end apartment, was Asha's apartment. Her family, somebody's moved in it now, they no longer live there. People still want to help. People still want to find her. And she has been called Shelby's sweetheart. And just because she's a child that, one of our own that's gone missing, and we want to find out what happened to her.
For Asha's family, prayers and hope have sustained them for the past 20 years, but they need answers. Hoping this anniversary will be different, Aquila appealed directly to anyone who may have been involved in her daughter's fate to come forward and unburden themselves.
That's my prayer every night, that God will get into their heart and let them just come forward.
Right.
Or somebody that know them come forward.
Look at the dad crying.
Because it's got to be a weight on
Tears
it.
in his
We're
eyes.
hoping and we're praying that she's had a halfway decent life anyway, even though we didn't get to raise her. She was 9 years old and now she'll be 30 this year. So we missed everything.
Friend Crystal?
But I don't care if she walked in the door right now. I wouldn't care what I miss. All I want to do is see her.
So, yeah. Are you back on, Ghost?
No, I'm here on my phone, but
Okay, honey. Okay,
I've got no power.
You're in the dark.
I'm in the dark.
Okay. Well, it's this. So, okay, the T-shirt from someone's school connection. The T-shirt was found in her book bag, Blondie. So, my main concern is, let me see. Let's go to this one.
What was the one we was reading where it was said that was it the shed where they found like some animal bones and some other stuff that
somebody
didn't
in
relate
jail.
to the case?
Somebody in jail said they knew where she was and sent him to this place, and they dug up bones, and they were animal bones. The guy was lying.
Huh.
That's what that was about. So, so down here it says, let me see.
Yeah, I can't read any of that. It's on my phone. It's way too
Yeah,
small.
you're on your phone. You're fine. You're fine.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, honey. Later developments at a news conference on February 22nd, Crawford said he was going long range with the search of Asha. Both the FBI and North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation got involved and put her on their respective databases of missing children, which is where the Charlie Project comes in. Aquila thinks she was taken, account of what Asha had taken with her. Okay, she believes she had planned and prepared for this departure over several days preceding her disappearance. She's not your typical runaway, observed SBI agent Bart Burpue. Another expert, Ben Erminy of the National Center for Missing Children and Exploited Children, noted that most children who run away are at least 12. An FBI agent also pointed to the lack of an issue she might have been running away from, such as dysfunctional family or poor academic performances. Still, investigators believe that was the most likely explanation of her departure. but that for some reason she either got off track or was abducted. So they do believe she was abducted. A lot of leads turned out to be dead end. Let me see. Where did we read that at?
See, I'm still under the assumption that she was removed from the house, but then again, that doesn't fit either because she was seen walking down the side of the road.
Right,
So
exactly.
I don't know.
Two people saw her walking down, and then 15 months later, May of 2016, their investigation of the case had turned up a possible new lead. They disclosed that Asha had been seen getting into a dark green early 1970s Lincoln Continental Mark V, or possibly Ford Thunderbird. So, okay, there's that. Let me see. Where did I read that at? November 2020, an inmate named Marcus Mellon, who was convicted of sex crimes against children in 2014, wrote a letter to the Shelby Star claiming that that Degree was murdered and he knows where to find her. In February of 2021, Cleveland County Sheriff Ellen Norman announced that Mellon's claim had led to another dead end. So, yeah. Okay, that's not the one I was looking for. Let's see what this one says.
This day, 22 years ago, a 9-year-old girl vanished from her home in Shelby.
Well, she is the type of child that would give you the shirt off her back. I still believe my daughter is alive. I do not believe she's dead.
Asha Degree's mom said those emotional words about her daughter on the 20th anniversary of her disappearance.
20 years, not knowing where your child is.
Well, they are hoping for renewed interest in this case and clues that could help them find the girl that's been known as Shelby's sweetheart.
Family members last saw Asha asleep in her bedroom. And as WBTV
God, that
anchor
breaks
Dee
my
Gagnon
heart.
tells us, family members are determined to see her again. Dee Dee?
Jamie and Maureen, I spoke with Asha's mom earlier today. It's obviously a very difficult day, but she seemed hopeful. There are, of course, a lot of questions, like why did Asha leave her house to begin with on Valentine's Day, which is her parents' wedding anniversary? Investigators say right now it's less about where we think Asha could be and more about what we think someone in our area knows about where she is.
We've done everything in our power to help bring our child, to help find our child, and to bring her home. Even though she's 30 now. Right. To us, she's still our child. She's still the 9-year-old little girl that left.
Asha Degree's mother, Aquila, sat down with WBTV's Jamie Bull on this day a year ago. Her daughter would be 31 years old.
God almighty.
Because at least with death, you've got closure. You can go to a gravesite, or you can, if you got to earn at home, whatever. But for us, we can't mourn. You can't give up. Only thing we got is hope.
Family members last saw Asha asleep in the middle of the night. Investigators say they got reports from people who said they saw a girl walking along North Carolina Highway 18 in Shelby around 4 a.m. That was the last time Asha was seen. Then, in 2001, her backpack was found some 30 miles away.
There was a New Kids on the Block concert t-shirt that was in the book bag, along with the library book that was from Asha's elementary school, but it was not checked out by Asha.
Each year, law enforcement is trying to find new ways to advance the investigation. From February 2021 to now, the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office has received 45 tips, and the FBI has gotten 20.
You know, at this point, we're always going to hold out hope that Asha's alive because we have not found evidence otherwise.
God almighty.
And FBI Charlotte couldn't go into specifics, but they told me they've identified a number of people over the years who have been considered a person of interest for various reasons. Like we've said, Asha has been missing for 22 years now. And we want to show you, we're trying to show you an age progressed photo of what Asha may look like today. We'll post that on our website. But of course, if you have any information, you're asked to contact FBI. And something that is really important from talking with investigators today is that any tip, anything that you can that you saw or that you know, that can
smallest
make
thing.
right. It can make a huge difference.
Could break the case wide open. And you know,
Right.
every time we hear from the parents, it's still so heart-wrenching, but you have to hold on to the hope that they have.
Right, relying on their faith, they said this morning.
And every time when I sit down with them, their relationship together, I mean, that is such a stressful
Right?
thing,
Yeah.
obviously, to be going through. They have been so strong together and throughout all of this. In the
I just can't imagine.
Well,
I
we wanna
cannot
remind you,
imagine.
Dee, anybody out there, if you've got any information, the FBI Charlotte wants to hear from you. 704-672-6100 or your local FBI office. There is a $45,000 reward for any information that could solve this case.
Well, there's that. Let me see. There was another one I wanted to show you guys. Let's see what this says.
Bo Zimmer, now back to you.
Bo, thank you. Make sure you stay with NBC Charlotte on
Let's see
air,
what this
online,
one
and
is.
inside
I
the
haven't
mobile
seen
app
this
as
one.
Hurricane Michael gets closer
I
and
know,
closer to the
so
Florida
sad,
coast.
22 years.
And as it moves over the Carolinas, we'll have complete live team coverage to make sure that you and your family stay safe.
New here at 5:30, nearly 20 years after Asha Degree went missing, police now releasing 2 new key items they hope will lead to her whereabouts. Asha was 9 years old when she left her Cleveland County home back in 2000, and there's been no trace of her ever since. NBC Charlotte's Richard Devane in Shelby from the last place that she was seen with more on this. Richard?
Yeah, we can tell you, Brooke, that basically she was inside her house that night, the 14th of February, left her house and was walking about a quarter of a mile up the road when she was last seen. Now, since the beginning, police have searched for her, had a lot of folks searching, and they said recently that someone out there knows something, and they're hoping that these new pieces of information they're seeking.
That's just a hop, skip, and jump to that Highway 18.
There is hope tonight. A post on the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office Facebook page wants the public's
like a
help
decent
to
neighborhood
answer
they
a
live in.
painful question
Yeah.
that has haunted this community for more than 18 years. Where is Asha Degree?
It bothers me. I'd like to know what happened to her.
Wilbert Hopper lives up the road from Asha's parents. He's known her grandparents for years.
A parent needs to know what happened, you know.
The sheriff's office says 2 pieces of information may help solve what happened to her back in February of 2000, when the then 9-year-old left
Look
her
at
house in the
her.
middle of the night. Last seen around 4 a.m. walking on the side of the road off Highway 18.
They need to find out what happened to her.
Early on, police found some clues, like her backpack, found buried near where she was last seen.
Our investigative team has discovered 2 items of interest that could possibly provide new leads about Asha's disappearance.
The first is this Dr. Seuss library book. Police say if you had it around the time of Asha's disappearance and lost track of it, to give them a call. The second item is a New Kids on the Block concert t-shirt. If you had a t-shirt like this one or knew someone who did, they want to hear from you.
Asha Degree is Shelby's sweetheart, and we know that everyone in this
God
community
darn it,
wants the
this-
same thing when it comes to this case.
I don't know.
And that's to
So
find
sad.
out what happened to her and to bring Asha home.
So there you go. There's that.
Seems
So-
to me that didn't look like a t-shirt. It looked like a children's nightgown.
Yeah, basically I think it is, honey. I think you're right. So, okay, so let's talk about this. So she leaves in the middle of the night. Apparently, some people are saying, speculating, it is very sad, hippie. She was considered to live out in the country. Right? Okay, Crystal. Hey, Uber, is today your birthday? No, honey, why? My birthday's not till April. I'll be the big 6'6". Woot woot. Woot woot. But thank you. How are you doing, Life Rewind? So some people think she ran away because she didn't like her environment, but she was so used to her environment, she didn't know any other life. But then they're saying because she read a book, I don't know. I personally, I think somebody took her.
I don't think the book would have driven me personally at the age of 9 to leave in the middle of the night, in the middle of a thunderstorm. You know what I mean? Like it didn't make sense to me. Like, I'm still wondering what was so bad at home that she was driven to leave in the middle of a storm like that without any, warm clothing or like
Yeah, no jackets.
no jacket, no gloves, no mittens or anything like that. Just throw some clothes in a book bag and out the door you go, right into a thunderstorm. And it's not like she didn't know it was a thunderstorming out that night. I mean, it knocked the power out at her house.
Right, right,
You know what I mean? Like
right.
right now, I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm and it's knocked my power out, and it's in the middle of the day. I don't want to go out in that crap outside, and it's daylight. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, right. I'm doing good, Life Rewind. You're so sweet. Thank you. So what do you think happened to her?
I, like I said, it had to have been something pretty drastic that happened at home to make her want to leave at that time and that point if she left on her own.
Now, a 9-year, okay, Joy wants to know how old the brother was. Just like a year or two older
Yeah,
than she was?
he was 10, she was 9. He was a
Yeah,
year older than she was.
yeah. Thank you. You think she was going to meet someone, Blondie? But how would she have known to meet someone? I don't know. So you think something happened to her at home?
I think there's more to what's going on inside that house at home than what's being told by the media and the police reports. I think we need to check into the parents' arrest records, see if there's any kind of uh, evidence of domestic violence in the household or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Alcohol or drug abuse or
Apparently they've already been checked out, and everything was okay. But here's where I'm going from with this. Goes, what if she was being abused somewhere somehow within the family? And I mean, I'm not talking
well, they did
mom, dad, but
say that after her basketball game, they spent some time at a relative's house and then went home that night.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pretty close knit neighborhood. She could have, and we know that her grandmother lived right across the street. Did she have any cousins or uncles or anything that also lived in that neighborhood?
See, that's just it. The whole family lived in that neighborhood. Blondie's School Connection T-shirt. The book is where the school connection is, not the T-shirt. Because remember the grandma, the aunt, and they all have children around there. So I'm not thinking so much it's mom and dad. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking something might have happened that she was scared to say something to her mom and dad about. Possibly
Like a late night sneaky uncle kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm speculating. These are just my personal opinions, everybody. Yeah, something happened. I don't know what, but I'm speculating that possibly something might have happened and she was too afraid to tell mom about or dad about it. And that's why she decided to leave. Now we know that she was seen. So here's another speculation or scenario. She was seen by two people. The one guy circled around her and went back and then said she ran into the woods. Is that true? Okay, Crystal says the entire family passed every test the police have them. She had a decent-sized family of extended family, and they are tightly connected family. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal lives right there, so she knows about this case. Could have gotten the T-shirt from someone at school.
Well, that's the kind of road I was kind of going down right in my head just a few minutes ago was what if, obviously she's 9 years old. She has friends from like the basketball team and things like that. She's probably been to sleepovers and things like that.
Oh,
what
sure.
if that was one of her friends' nightgowns or something, or their favorite nightgown? And she's like, you need to bring that back to me. I want it back,
Sunshine.
And
Right.
she
Well,
decided to
welcome.
take it back at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
I don't know. I
Hi,
mean,
Sunshine. Thank you for coming in. Welcome, welcome.
9-year-olds don't always make the best decisions as to what they're doing at times. You know what I'm saying?
They don't know the dangers half the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but the other scenario I'm thinking of that possibly could have happened. What if this guy, he said he saw her go into the, okay, just bear with me. I'm speculating. What if he picked her up, took her to that shed? Remember the Mickey Mouse bow? She always wore braids in her hair. But they found that Mickey Mouse bow laying there. She never went without that Mickey Mouse bow in her head because she always wore braids.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So
did
you're
she
saying
go to that?
the abductor would have come forward and said that he's seen her, tried to pick her up to take her home, and she ran into the woods, putting himself in the case so that he knew what was going on.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
historically
the book
that
bag,
happens more times than not in these cases.
okay, so then the book bag ends up 30 miles down the road, the opposite direction.
Right.
The opposite direction of where she was seen walking. Which means somebody had to have had contact with her to take that book bag and go the opposite 30 miles. There is no way in hell a little girl's going to walk 30 miles in one night. You understand what I'm saying?
Not in
And
the
it's
middle of a thunderstorm.
Crystal says,
I would be
says,
more apt to think that she'd left the house. Maybe it wasn't raining so hard when she left the house. It started pouring down the rain, and she took shelter in that shed.
Like rewind. Yeah, because there was candy wrappers there.
Yeah, maybe she was trying to wait out some of the heavy rain or something, and
So
decided, I'll sit here and eat some candy while I wait.
Crystal so-and-so says, Blondie, I took care of one of her uncles in intensive care shortly after she disappeared. The whole family cried nonstop. I just cried with them. That just breaks my heart, Crystal. Breaks my heart about this little girl. So, okay, so what if he chased her into the woods? Found her into the woods? Somebody had to have picked up that backpack and went 30 miles the opposite direction, let alone, where did a little girl, say for instance, she did bury her backpack. Where did she come up with the bags? And how did she dig a big hole like that to bury that backpack?
Right.
Somebody had contact with her. Somebody had contact with her and took that backpack.
Yeah, I don't think that her burying her own backpack, which she could have gotten a couple of garbage bags from the house and had them in the backpack and then covered the backpack and buried it. But she's a 9-year-old girl out there in the middle of a thunderstorm in the dark without a flashlight or shovel or anything like. Yeah, she didn't bury her own bag. It's not feasible.
No. And that backpack was found deep. How did a little girl, how did she even dig?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not feasible.
So somebody from the time, because there was 2 people, remember, that saw her on that highway. Let's even negate the fact, why did she leave? Let's go right to where they saw her. 2 people saw her heading in one direction, 1.5 miles from where she lived. So, and she ran into the woods. That just makes no sense to me. Was she hiding from whoever it was that was looking for her? She hid there until maybe after the storm had quit?
I'm with you. I think maybe, if she left the house on her own, she got out there, started raining heavy. She took shelter in that shed. When the rain let up, she came out. She was seen by at least 2 people. And we've seen this scenario before that, a person sees an easy target and all of a sudden snaps, and then they're fixated on that person. Remember the girl that was seen by the 13-year-old girl that was seen from a bus window, and the guy went to her house and killed her parents and all that shit.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
I mean, he only seen her one time, and from that moment on, he was fixated on that target.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It is entirely possible that more than two people seen her out walking that night.
Right.
Maybe a third person seen her and said, "Oh, here's an easy target." And
right. Yep.
You know.
Exactly. Exactly. Crystal says. Crystal says. It was so new that they didn't have these answers yet. Backpack, hair elastic, had not been discovered yet, and they only knew about two people reporting seeing her. Right. Right. So. So see, that's where the disconnection is. I think, Ghost, is between her being in that shed. Okay, the people seeing they saw her. The shed. Did she go into the shed because it was storming? She needed somewhere to hide. She was running from this guy that she thought was following her. She was scared, so she ran into the shed. Did he go look for her and found her in the shed?
You know, now that I think about it, the dog's not getting a scent outside her residence or outside the shed. Depending on how hard it was storming that night, it could have washed away her scent.
True, true. Crystal said, I know one of the men that saw her. They said he was torn up emotionally, never was the same again. Was he torn up emotionally because he didn't follow her or stop to help her? Or why was he torn up emotionally, honey?
Could he be a person of interest in the case?
Hey, Greg Man.
And
Crystal,
torn up from guilt?
See, Crystal knows this case. Are we doing this case okay, Crystal? Are we pretty much on track with a lot of this stuff, you think? There's just that missing connection there. You understand what I'm saying? From the shed to where the candy wrappers and the bow was found to 30 miles away, the opposite direction of where she was headed. And that hidden backpack.
I think she took shelter in the shed from the storm, ate some candy. You know, the stuff that was found, like her bow and stuff like that, was probably in her book bag, but she was rooting to find candy. You know, you throw candy in a book bag, it's going to fall down to the bottom.
To the bottom of it,
You're going to move some stuff around and set it down.
It's dark, so she would have, she wouldn't know what she's pulling out.
Right. I think she took shelter in that shed.
Kitty.
Decided she was hungry, ate some candy, and then sometime after she left that shed, she was abducted.
Okay, so let's say we've got that all figured out. Let's say that little 9-year-old, she was cold, she was scared, it was dark, she knew where she was in a safe area, she was hungry.
Wet.
So let's say she huckered up in there, okay? Now at this time, we're already thinking it's what? Early morning, 5 something in the morning or something, so it's still dark outside.
Probably about the time. It's probably about the same time. Well, I don't know. The guy said that it was around 3:45 in the morning when he had seen her in the car and she ran into the woods.
Okay, so we're talking 3:45 to light. Probably what's light? Maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, right?
I was going to say probably about 6:45. About February, you're talking, probably about 6:15, 6:20.
And we know, Ghost, the people start getting up if that's a rural area, so people got to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on that highway going to work. So they would have seen a little girl. And the buses are out there to pick up kids. So they would have seen a little girl if it was any later than that. So you're looking at a timeline between 3:45 and say 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not going to take a little 9-year-old. It would take her. Let me back up. It would take a little 9-year-old a lot longer than 3 hours to go 30 miles.
Oh yeah.
And why would she hide her book bag? That is something she would need. She's got change of clothing in there. She's got a book. Yeah. Yeah, that's her lifeline right there. That's the only thing she's got. Wow, come on. So either a third person saw her if both people were vetted that saw her. Correct. Hey, Tack, how you doing, baby? Correct, Blondie. There had to have been a third person that saw her. There had to have been. So let me pull up her picture again. I don't know, Ghost. It just seems too weird to me, right?
Right.
You know what? I can understand the little girl being in the shed. That makes perfect sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're out there in the middle of the night, in the dark and the rain, and it starts storming real hard, yeah, you're gonna look for any kind of shelter you can
She
find.
was scared. She was scared too. Can you imagine a little 9-year-old in the middle of a terrible storm? You know? That's a busy highway. Thank you, Crystal. You've been very helpful, Crystal, on this case. Very helpful. Thank you. Okay, so here's what we know. We've got a little 9-year-old girl that leaves her home in the middle of the night. She walks down Highway 18 in North Carolina. She's seen by two people. One keeps on driving. The other one says he turns around, circles around her, twice, Ghost?
Yeah, he went past her twice.
Went past her twice, and he was going to stop, and she ran into the woods. From her running into the woods now, she is possibly they found candy wrappers, her pencil bag, and her hair bow that she always wore in her hair, Mickey Mouse. They found it by some tractor tire in a shed off the highway. Okay, by a business. Now the man never did find her, but he did report seeing her. Both of those guys reported seeing her. Then, a year later, her book bag, which had a change of clothing, a book, a t-shirt she loved, shows up after a contractor was digging to build. Shows up buried. This book bag was wrapped in plastic and buried off of the highway. And it had to have been pretty deep, and it was somebody that consciously wrapped it in plastic. Now, why would anybody take the time to wrap a book bag in plastic and then bury it? That's something a female would do, isn't it? Come to think of it. Why? Because you wouldn't want to get it dirty. And if it was her that did it, where did she come up with the bags, and how did she dig a hole that deep to put that book bag in? 30 miles away from the shed where her candy wrappers are found. I just don't believe she did it. I don't believe that she walked 30 miles in a 3-hour period.
Well, and a lot of times murderers will want trophies of what they've done, and a lot of them have kept trophies over the years. A lot of different, serial killers and things like that. So maybe he put the book bag in plastic and buried it, thinking he would come back and get it as a trophy.
Good thinking, Ghost. I didn't even think of that. You're right. So, we've got 30 miles between where her candy wrappers were found, where the book bag was found. Could she be somewhere within that 30-mile radius? Or did he kidnap her and traffic her?
I don't think it's a traffic thing. I think she'd be found somewhere along 18. Most likely between where they found the book bag and that shed somewhere.
Right? Wow, what a case. What a case. And she would be, how old would she be? She was 9 in 2000. So, oh Jesus. Whose
22 plus
property?
9. So be 31.
31. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Roy. Wow. Whose property? Blondie, it was a construction site. They were breaking ground for new homes, and that's how they found it. It was a construction worker breaking ground with his backhoe. So, yeah. This is a case. Yeah, she'd be 31. Yeah. You're right. I don't know, Ghost. I don't know. I am just. This is. Personally, I think we got it pretty well narrowed down. You know, somewhere, I feel she's somewhere between the 30 miles where, yeah, you're right, where her backpack was found and the candy wrappers in the shed.
Yep.
But that's all wooded area there.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
That's a lot of ground to cover. And you know what? They said that they had searched 9,000 hours. 9,000.
Yeah, they said they searched 9,000 hours over what was it, that 2 to 3 mile radius from her home?
Yeah, hang on a minute. Let me look.
So you imagine if they only searched for a mile to 3 mile radius and spent 9,000 hours, how many hours is it going to take to cover a 30-mile stretch of highway, both sides of the highway and the adjacent woods along the highway?
Right.
You're going to want to go probably at least a mile in the woods on each side of the road down that highway for 30 miles.
Well,
so
here in this,
you're talking about 60 to 80 square miles of search area that she could possibly be in.
Right. Well, it says here, it says a week later, the search was called off. That's after they went searching on the 15th. A week later, a search was called off after 9,000 man hours had been invested in the search of 2 to 3 mile radius. So they'd only gone a 2 to 3 mile radius of where she was last seen. Flyers have been posted all over the area, and 300 leads have been submitted and range from possible sightings to tips about abandoned houses and wells where Asha might have ended up. We have never really had the first good substantial lead. So he's even admitting that. Oh my gosh, that poor little baby. I can't imagine.
How this case will be solved one of these days when a hunter is out there in the woods and finds her remains.
Yeah.
That's how this will come to pass.
Crystal said, and the officers and searchers alike were on their hands and knees. I believe it, honey. Studio says Ghost Mafia is awesome. Why, yes, he is. Well, guys, that is our sad story for today for the missing. Little Asha. This breaks my heart. Crystal said, Ghost, I believe they will find her. Davros, Thank you so much, honey.
I think they'll end up finding her one of these days. There'll be a bow hunter or something along that highway, and he'll find her remains in a ditch somewhere or something.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Somewhere between where the book bag was found and that shed that she took.
That's where I think she is too. Somewhere along that 30-mile range. Yep. So, I don't know. So sad. Hippie Soul, thank you so much for the donos. I appreciate it. Oh, I love you too. Joy, thank you so much. Uber and Ghost, thank you both so much, very much, Crystal says. Okay, so
You're welcome.
serial killer truck driver that ran that route frequently one day. I don't know, Blondie. It could be, honey. It could very well be. So thank you, Just a Girl, very much. I really appreciate it, you guys, for all
I
the
mean, at
donuts.
this point, we kind of have to ask ourselves: was there any other disappearances in that area from around the same time frame,
Exactly,
or
Crystal. Hang on,
any
Crystal.
other
Let me ask Crystal.
murders in the area?
Yeah, Crystal, was there any other children missing or murders in that area around that time? Or, from then on? I mean, anybody that would have been of any interest during this time? Thank you so much over there on D Live for all the donos. I greatly appreciate it very, very much.
And then again, you have to kind of look into like the sex offenders list in that area and see if there
Yeah.
was any registered sex offenders that lived in that area at the time.
Thank you,
That,
Hondo.
that could possibly be a possible suspect in the case.
Right? Yep, you're right. You're right, Ghost. Yeah, absolutely right. If there was any more murders in that area, any more child abductions, any, convicted sex offenders in that area, I mean, you said that the family had been cleared, Crystal, and,
Is that
yay!
area an area known for sex trafficking? I mean, it seemed pretty rural to me. It's not like they was in downtown Los Angeles or someplace like that. It seemed pretty rural.
See, that's the whole thing. It's a big country. It's a country area. That is a country highway. Even though Crystal said it's a very busy highway. The only thing I can think of is somebody either targeted her, had seen her, targeted her, and decided to take her. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Crystal says no woman or any case connected, or at least nothing they connected. Okay, Crystal. So, yeah, one day I hope they find this young lady, this baby, and they put, this family at ease. And,
well, I have to say, too, is, the way that they connect these cases is by finding the body and finding out how that person died. And if it was, similar instances to a few other cases in the area, that kind of gives them a lead. Unfortunately, we haven't found a body in this case yet.
Right.
And
right.
until we do, we won't know for sure if it ties to any other cases in the area.
But, and 22 years later, I mean, there's going to be just bones left. Let's be realistic if she was killed.
Right.
Right. So there's not going to be much.
But let's say that they find bones and a piece of rope, or her wrists were tied together with duct tape or something. The duct tape would still be there. The ligature around her neck would still be there, or
True. Very
and
true.
if that is indicative of another case that happened around the same time frame in the area, the two could be connected and give you a possible lead in the case.
Yes, you're right, Kyle. The family does need closure. That's exactly what the mother said. They need some closure. I can't imagine, sitting there for 22 years wondering whatever happened to your, whatever happened to your child. I agree with you, Studio. I agree with you. So, with that being said, guys, great stream. Thank you, everybody, for being, in touch and participating. Crystal, thank you so much, honey. So much. I really appreciate all the input. Crystal lives down in that area. So, thank you so much. And with that, tomorrow is Picklegate, guys. So, make sure you're here at noon. Everything, I've got a long day ahead of me. I'm going to be in this office all day today putting everything together. So, tomorrow's Picklegate and 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. Y'all be here.
Hey, you know what, Uber? I use some of that pickle juice on my beard, and I can almost braid it now.
I was watching you do that earlier. Man, Is he braiding his hair now? I want to see this. Hey, RC, thanks. So that's why I think a truck driver, local or otherwise, that frequented that road. Oh, okay, Blondie. Good. That's a good one, too. Thank you for the live, Mama Uber. You're welcome, guys. And I want to say thank you very much. Yep, we are preparing, Joyce says. Okay. So, with that being said, thank you, everybody, for coming in and participating and coming over and checking us out. Make sure you catch me tomorrow. We're going to have a panel, little video, little class about Picklegate. It's important. It's important. Picklegate is very important. And I've got a dog whining that needs to go outside. So, much love to y'all, and we will talk to you tomorrow.